Right, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Rob here at Smirking Gun Reviews, back to talk more Doom Patrol. We're on episode 4. It's called Cult Patrol. So full spoilers, we have not seen this episode yet. This one kind of goes off a little bit off, not off course, but like off the main plot. Adding some more world building a little bit to me. But it's probably the weakest episode so far, even though it has some amazing moments that, again, show that this is one of the most unique comic book shows that are out there. Definitely the best thing that DC's doing right now, in my opinion, as far as, like, television shows. And, well, I mean, Aquaman was pretty good. I mean, it was fun. This I actually really like. But still, it's a little bit like I think it's our like first two-parter, and it's the first episode that kind of goes away from finding the chief. But like I said, more world building and stuff, and we get this crazy story about the cult of the unwritten book. And what they did is this couple who are followers of this cult have a kid, and they start tattooing them up the word of their god. I don't know who's writing it on him. Somebody's tattooing the kid up. They never really say who. I'm assuming it's them, but like they're the writers of their own Bible. Just these two idiots. I don't know. I didn't want to think too hard about it, but they're raising this kid basically. You know, sheltered him, tell him he's a hero. He's gonna be have a destiny. As I love. In this scene, the father communicating his, it looks like his growing unease and like maybe not believing or, not really being on the side of what they're doing. So like when she cues to him to say, hey, Dad, you tell him how, everything is, and he doesn't respond, he just blows the little noisemaker, the little birthday noisemaker. I really like that, where he's not saying anything, but he's saying everything. And we think that that's just this, like, harmless little, like he's agreeing but not agreeing or whatever. So when he turned 17, when this kid Elliot turned 17, and she goes to get the knife to cut the cake, he tells him, you got to get out of here. You're not some savior. You're not a hero. You're here to kill everybody. What we find out later is that all the tattoos and everything are this Bible, and if you read it, it summons a great big eye, and the Decreator comes and destroys everything, all of his existence. Which, like, what kind of person wants to destroy all of existence unless, that person's a complete and utter... Like, I don't know. I think psychopaths kind of enjoy life, don't they? I mean, even psychopaths, like, I don't know. But it seems like one of those weird one-sided things, like a villain in Resident Evil. Where it's like, yeah, you're siding with these people that are going to be immortal, but immortality, what does immortality look like in those games? Right? You turn into some fucking crazy-looking monster. Try going to the grocery store, looking like that. But anyway, she kills the husband. She slits his throat, which was pretty brutal looking. I gotta give it up to him again. I mean, TVMA, they're really going for it, at least. Also, we get introduced to Mark Sheppard's character, Kipling. I am a big fan of Mark Sheppard. Going all the way back to Season 1 of The X-Files. It always goes back to The X-Files. To Season 1 episode Fire, where he played a character named Cecil Lively. Basically a man who could spontaneously combust. He was fire. He could turn flames into everything. And it's like the progression of that character story was really, really cool. And it was one of those stories from the early days of The X-Files that definitely hinted at a second part sometime soon, and it never happened. I even know it was the first time. Like, I think even before, like, I heard the term fan fiction, I wrote a story. I started writing a story, a sequel to that episode. And ever since then, I've always been following Mark Shepard, or his character, and I followed a lot of the people from X Files around. That sounds like I'm a stalker. Online, like keeping track of their careers and things like that, and paying attention. And he went on to, like, he was on Firefly, and I know he's really popular from Supernatural, which I never watched. I never watched Supernatural, but I'm sure he's great on it. That's just not my bag. Supernatural came out like right after the X Files was like recently over, and I was like, I'm not watching this X Files ripoff, even though I know it's not. To all the people that love Supernatural, I understand that it's not. It's got a lot more to do with angels and demons. Anyway, way off topic. Mark Shepard's in this, though. He plays a guy named Willoughby Kipling. He's really good in this, too. He's changed a lot in the past. Gosh. Well, X-Files was 25 years ago, I believe, was when he was on that show. He's kind of like a John Constantine type character. He's got magic and he's fighting demons, things like that. These crazy slashing razor ladies that come out of the walls, that was really cool effect. I mean, they take something that kind of looks cheap and makes it work. They make it look cool, they make it look scary, and even though it can look a little fake, the overall quality and intensity of the situations kind of win you over to where you just kind of accept it. At least that's how I feel about it. We know that there's signs of the end times because in Spain, some guy has a stigmata starts shooting out of his, like, first it starts as like a regular stigmata and then it turns into like these big ass beams of light that start popping out of him. And I guess that's what opens this gate up to this place called Nirnheim, which sounds like a place from Asgard, where these people are from, these evil cultists are from. Also, we get like a deeper understanding of where they're going with Robot and Jane's character, where Chief has kind of like been their father figure. Robot is slowly becoming Jane's father figure, and she's kind of like a surrogate daughter. Neither of them want to accept that about each other. That neither of them want to admit that they need that, and that it would be nice for each other to have that. But of course, he doesn't understand what's going on, and she's got so many personalities that you can't pin one down to admit to anything. And this is where we also get back to Hammerhead's back, and I don't really care for Hammerhead's character just because she performs as a whole bunch of different characters, and this is my least favorite of the performances of these different characters, because Hammerhead's just your basic loudmouth cussing character. I mean, I fucking swear, but it's just that yelling, like character. I just kind of, a little bit goes a long way, and they really go back to the well on that one a lot. Maybe because it's just easy to write down, fuck you, asshole, and walk out of the room. Also, like her whole deal with him and the killing of the Swiss Miss. I got like a hair in my mouth. The killing of the Swiss Miss Nazis in the last episode, and her being like, "Oh, I see, like, oh, you did all that," and it's like, you killed a lot of people too, like with word knives. Oh, but well, I exist for like a purpose. It's like, fuck you. None of this, nothing exists with real. Well, nature exists for a purpose. Everybody, our purpose is to whatever. Let's not get into that. But I don't know. I found it a little hypocritical on her part and how she handled that situation. Larry Stowaway is trying to communicate, but doesn't like what he has to say. But it does lead later to that pretty interesting situation where he finds sits down and watches the video of Chief having a machine built to translate the Stowaway's body can go inside it, and then it can try to talk through that. But the only word that comes out is torture. when he's asked, like, how do you survive inside Larry's body? And, torture can be seen from different ways. Like, you could say that it's torture. One second. Oh, we are frozen up. Alright, sorry everybody. More camera problems. If I don't hit pause every once in a while, this thing completely spazzes out. So we were talking about torture and what that word could mean, really. I mean, sure, it could mean straight up that it's torture being inside his body, but, it could mean something else. I mean, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. Like, he could be referring to something else is what I mean, like the torture part. But, maybe that's just me thinking a little too hard on the subject. We got Victor, who's still trying to make them a team. And while this character would fit better on, like, the Titan show, I'm glad he's here. I'm glad he's on this show. Because like I said, I think he's my favorite character right now. Just his he really does capture Victor Stone's qualities. And like I said, it looks really good. He's not huge. He doesn't, we don't have to make him huge. He can be just a regular guy with parts. And as it goes on, sure, do whatever. But I really love this simple, minimal look of Cyborg. That still works. Especially when they show, like, some of the weapons and stuff that he's capable of. But this is where, Kip shows up at the mansion. And, he just kind of dumps a bunch of exposition on us about the cult of the thing, and he talks about the D-Creator and all this stuff, and the unmaking of the world. But we do get to meet an Oracle that'll help, and all these little cool magic things that he has. It's like, why didn't they just get John Constantine? But anyway, I mean, I guess then you don't got Mark Shepard. But there's this blue-headed Oracle horse that's singing a song and telling them everything, and it's just a real trip. It's more unique and cool-looking than anything else in the DC universe. This is really cool and very imaginative. And like I said, just way more above, like, what... This show has more imagination in its little finger than most of the DC shows. But it could just be coming straight out of the comics. These are based on Grant Morrison's works. We find out that Elliot's the book, of course, and, it's basically, well, let's just kill the kid. That'll do it. I mean, we have to close the gates of Nuremberg, though. And to close the gates of Nuremberg, they are, like... You think, maybe, when they say, well, what would be so hard about closing the gates? You think, oh, he's going to talk about, like, waves of armies and a big castle in a place. Like, how do you close that? But really, it's just, they got to find the guy with the stigmata. So, honestly, he kind of makes a little bit more of a deal of it than he needs to, because they solve it. They figure it out really quickly. I mean, he has all the tools there. He seems to, like, just want to just jump right to the killing. Because, he has Janis Joplin's dental floss to help sew the wound. Apparently it's, like, spiritual. Also, the knowing gum. He eats that, and it just tells him where the guy is. So, like, boom, boom, you have the floss, you have the gum. You just go there and you save the guy. And you sew him up. And I know plans like this never go awry, but, I mean, he had the stuff for the plan. So he's just like, let's kill the kid. Oh, I guess I can just let we can use the magic stuff that I have, not kill the kid. So I don't know why it took so long to get to that. Plus, in this episode, I've pretty much had it. I had hit my limit with Rita's naysaying and just, we're not heroes. We're not heroes. Larry, help me out, would you? Like, I'm sorry, but I love this actress. Was it April Bowlby? But this character is just... But then we get, like, this great turn from her finally. Like, the thing that I've been waiting for. So it's funny that, like, I hit my limit on this character's just kind of poo-pooing everything to getting control of her powers. Becoming a female Mr. Fantastic. Minus the intelligence. But when she stretches out her arm finally to stop Shepard from killing, the kid. I like how my arm did that. I kind of made it look stretchy. Um, it was it was like she finally had a reason to focus. This danger for the kid and her trying to do something good, boom, causes her to react in the way that we've all, like, she's needed it, but the audience has needed her to be in control of her powers as well. Um, and then Hammerhead, of course, they're in the church. They've got everything going. The guy's right there. Hammerhead stares up at the freaking religious symbols or whatever and has some sort of kind of, probably something that has to do with, Jane's past, and attacks the priest, which sends the little lights shooting out of his hands to go crazy, and they get sucked into Nirnheim, where they're proceeded. Hammerhead conveniently disappears and leaves a stuttering British personality standing there, quivering, and Robot gets taken and brought before the Archons. Now the Archons are conveniently the dead dad and the mother of the kid. I was thinking it might be a little bit something grander, but this show has a budget. And I think that it reached its limit. At how many people can we have? Like, how big can we make this right now? Also, we find out that Beatles songs are magic spells. Apparently, A Hard Day's Night might have done something to save all this, but it's pretty interesting. I don't know. I also like how Kip, in his own way, is kind of a deeper look into Chief's character. He's just somebody who has a lot of information. Like, they only know the Chief as one way. The guy that's right there to help them and improve the lives of people like them, and blah blah blah. And that's why they're helping. Trying to find him and get him back. But he's got this other version of himself through characters like Kip that lets you know that he's not just this kindly older gentleman who's been helping these guys out his whole life. He's also been out there doing hard things, making hard choices, that part that they don't see. Which should be a little bit easier to accept considering the world they live in. But story-wise, they have to be all like, what? The stowaway lets Elliot leave. Basically, kind of, I would say, it let him leave because he's trapped inside Larry and sees somebody who wants out and can about it, and so it lets him leave. Or you could see it as maybe it let him so that Larry would do something about it to get more involved. Okay, so then basically the shit hits the fan, and everybody's coming to attack them and all that stuff. This is where we get to see another cool effect. Now, I know it's not the best effect in the world, but that sonic cannon that he has is pretty sweet. And also you get, then you got Kip with his flaming magic sword. That's all really cool. And then the really, really, really cool thing happens where we get to introduce to these characters called the Dry Bachelors, who are like, they're very interesting. They kind of look like the Question, a little bit, like from a distance. That kind of design anyway. But what they are basically like grunts. The cannon fodder that they would throw at them. But they're made of dead skin and letters that were never sent. Literally. So they're just paper, basically. That's why they're grunts. Like, if they overwhelm you, they could probably do something. But they really are. Once that you hit them, they just turn into letters. It's really, really cool effect. And we also, with the Archons, get to, they show things as they are, right? So they show him as just a brain, Robot as just a brain. But then they say, here's Jane, and they call her Young Kay. So I'm thinking that that's the original personality. I don't know if they've mentioned her before. I mean, I know they've mentioned, like, they've been talked about the central, actual beginning personality, and I'm thinking that's who Kay is. And if they've mentioned her name, this is the first time we're actually seeing her and what she looks like. They also put into question, like they throw it in their faces, that robot's looking for a daughter, she's looking for a father, blah blah blah. And that's where I thought that we were going to get close to, a finish to an episode. Like the things were going to get resolved, but we don't get a resolution here because damn it, this thing went black on me again. All right, so the kid gets taken, he gets red, and the great big eye opens up in the sky, and Kip lights up a stogie, and that's basically it. That's the end of the episode. Like, the end of the world's coming, and that's how we leave it. And I was kind of bummed because I was hoping for a resolution. But I don't mind a two-parter. It's just that I don't get to review these as fast as I would like. I'm trying to space everything out, and so it's probably going to be a little while before I get to episode 5. But it's still a really well done episode. The effects are great. We get more world building. We've gone off course a little bit to tell this story, but that's fine as long as as long as this story gets resolved and we get back on track. A little bit more in episode 5, which is called Paw Patrol. So anyway, still a really good episode. Rita gets control of her powers. Larry gets a little bit more of a grasp on what's going on with his and what's capable, maybe communication-wise, with his stowaway. Victor is... Oh, when he shoots out the grenade, that was pretty cool. So everybody's growing, everybody's changing. We didn't have Morden in this episode, Mr. Nobody, but, can't probably get Alan Tudyk all the time. Plus, we got Mark Shepard in here, so it was all good. So if you liked this review, please hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe, hit the bell for all notifications, blah, 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 blah. Otherwise, this is Robert Smirking Gun Review saying I better end this before my computer completely flakes out on me for good tonight. So see y'all later, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye. Fucking piece of shit.